the first few weeks of recap of my current meet prep. Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we will have the first meet prep recap. I finished the first training block, the first 4 weeks. So before I head in, give me a like, subscribe to the video, leave a comment, let me know how you think things are going out of your perspective during my meet prep. We'll give you a short overview of the program. This is what I did. A couple of weeks ago I gave you an overview of the total setup. Basically did the program as is. The reverse hyper and hyper extension, that's something that I kept doing, but I did it on the second day, mainly because my back was way too tired if I did it on Mondays and then I had too heavy deadlift. Besides that, it was really as is. So now let's go to the videos. So here we are. Was the first training session, my first time actually doing a competition squat in 9 months, 10 months. Has been a long time. Felt both weird and awkward and good. Throughout the training sessions and weeks, I had to readjust my competition squat a little, mainly ending up in the 3rd week I figured that I have to widen my stance just a tiny bit, so now I'm standing like maybe 2 or 3 centimeters wider, but everything flows in the hip, which is quite cool. It feels good and strong. I got rid of my weird knee issues for the first 2 weeks. My left knee felt kind of off and weird, and it wasn't really pain, but I don't know, I cannot even describe it. Now in retrospect, I would say it was just, my knee was just really tired overall, because it was at the tendon, inside the knee, outside of the knee, left and right. So that was kind of unexpected, but now everything is good. I would even say great. I was expecting to really have a hard first week, maybe even hard first 2 weeks, and that was really the case. I was very sore. I could barely move and walk after my first training session, so the squats, they were really killing my legs. 3 hours after I finished my squat session, so on the same day, I started to feel how my legs really started to get sore. So that was a first, I don't think, except from when I started to train legs years ago, that this was the case, and it showed in my paused safety squat bar set here on day 2, because I was supposed to do sets of around 115 kilo at an RPE 8, and it was basically only 80 kilos, and I was really in pain, and I made sure to not get injured, but that was really hard. Here on the 3rd day, still pin squats. It's technique work, it's hard, but it's manageable. So I was trying to get through the first week somehow, in some way, shape or form, really trying to stick to the program, not taking a break and not getting hurt, which is difficult. For spotter press, something that I haven't done in ages too. I was struggling a bit at week 1 to find the right spot to where basically the idea is to stop more or less, like, let's say 10 centimeters in front of your chest, so you're not going completely down. And while this sounds easy, actually going down with some speed and stopping without touching your chest is really hard. So you really need to have a stable upper back and need to be stable overall in your bench press, which can be tricky, and it's a difficult lift for me, which probably means that I need to keep doing it for quite a while. Same here as with my paused deadlifts, which were and still are a challenge, but that's technique work. So there's a lot of technique work in this program besides the strength part, and that's because I'm doing the lifts several times a week, sometimes even on the second training day I'm deadlifting, I'm benching, and I'm squatting. So this only works if you play with variations and intensity and technique. So stiff-legged deadlifts is something that worked better for me than RDLs. That's the one thing that I switched in the program as it was, because it was asking me to do Romanians, but I prefer stiff-legged deadlifts and I feel them more in the hamstrings, which is okay too. Some upper back work or back work in general. I like pull-ups, even though they're not fancy, but they work, and I don't have that much equipment to actually do much different things. Floor press is something that I had started right, I think at the end when I was doing 5-3-1 and really liked it. It's more, I'm doing a somewhat more narrower grip than my competition lift grip would be, and it really kills my triceps. It's the last thing I do in last thing on this training day, but also the last thing in the training week. So I have already done many bench reps, and I'm quite happy once this is over too. This is the second week. I'm still a little bit sore at this point in time, and I'm bothered still from my knee, by my knee, which is okay. Now in retrospect, I know that it's okay, but I was really worried that something was off. Overall, I think the first few weeks were really a success. Gave me plenty of insight. I was somewhat, I'm saying it was a success because, especially for the squat, the only power lift in my program where I truly know my 1RM is the bench press, because I bench pressed 100 kilos, I think it was for 2 reps, and I'm put 105 kilos now in the calculator, because I think that is my real 1RM if I have to push. But for everything else, the deadlift and especially the squat, it's only estimated 1RMs. And while I was having so many issues with my squat, it's really, in this percentage-based program, it really forces me to either admit that I'm not strong enough for the weight, or grow into everything. So here is me in the second week actually doing the safety squat, the pause safety squat bar reps with 115 kilo as per program, and the first 2 sets I would say were even, it was supposed to be an RPE 8. The first set that definitely was the case. The second and third not completely, but it wasn't an RPE 10 either, so I was still fine. Pin squats is something that as of week 3 I really got the hang of it and liked it. So yeah, it's also I would say during week 3 I could see myself without no knee issues, different stance, a stance that feels great in my hip, no more sore legs or sore lower back, everything adapted and adjusted. I really could see myself growing into my estimated 1RM for the squat, which is 185 kilos. I think the heaviest that I ever did squat was a high. No, it was a normal rep of 160 kilos, but that was one rep, and that did hurt my hip. So it's great to see that on this lower percentages, I'm really doing well and feeling well, and it's not like I feel strong, and I feel that there is a lot more left inside of me. It gives me hope for the 185 kilos for my meet, but I have somewhat, it's not really, I have a coach, let's put it like this. I'm doing my program myself, but she is looking over my lifts, and basically she's like my sounding board. So I tell her how I feel, what I'm doing, what I think, and just to make sure that I'm not doing anything stupid. And she will be my handler during the meet in a couple of weeks, which will be great having someone there. So she even said, well, she can see me doing 200, maybe not now during the meet, but maybe this year or at some point next year, which is cool. And here you see 130 kilo, first time with my new stand, and it moves well. I'm sitting back a little bit more to the start, still a lot of knee travel, but it feels good, which is really cool. Bench press is probably the best power lift out of all of them. I have no idea why. It went from the worst to the best. Deadlift was always somewhere in between. And the squat used to be the best one. I hope it's coming to be the best one again. I also tweaked a few things on my deadlift setup, which made a big difference in the first rep. Maybe if you follow me here for a while, you might have seen me either on my shorts or on my training recaps, or maybe on Instagram. On my deadlifts, my first rep, my hips were always a little too low. So when I started pulling, my hips shot up, and then the bar started moving, and it's wasted energy. I'm losing tension, so it's really not ideal. Now it's not like I have a 5-minute setup. I never had a long setup. Never understood people who were kind of doing this weird exorcism to get the bar up. But now it's really in a way that I go into my sumo stance, I lower myself down to grab the bar with my left hand first, then my right hand, and I managed to do it in a way that once I locked my right hand, I just can start pulling. I already pulled out the slack and just can move, and that's how I managed to have my hips at the right position. The only tricky part for me at this point is still proper bracing. It's working, that's not the problem, it's just it doesn't feel as good as it did previously. Previously I was more focusing on having my hands at the right position, enough internal pressure to lift, and then resulting in really having problems with my hips or the heights of my hips. And now it's a little bit, everything else works great, just not bracing. But I think that is more a thing of practicing it. This is new, so I have to see how it will evolve the next. I have 12 more weeks to practice it several times a week, or at least once a week. I don't know. I have no idea how the program. I don't have it in mind. So that's something that is cool too. So 2 big changes in 2 of the power lift, and for the bench I just have to get stronger, and that's pretty much it. Which is something I'm as you can see, working hard on. My weak part is, well, I still think I'm just weak overall, but my triceps is just a weak part out of my bench press. As is my back is my weak part for the squat. And I think here you can see me squatting, and this looks very, very different compared to everything else. This just flows. I'm very deep, so depth is not going to be a problem. I come down and up, and it just feels strong, so that's cool. And there was a 5x5 with 130 kilos. If you keep in mind, my last competition meet PR was a very ugly looking 145 kilos. So yeah, with the deadlift, it's just I don't know, maybe it's I'm not made for this, but it just feels a bit off. Here you can see my setup, and this just looks very much different to everything I did before. I figured out how to actually just push my hips through once I'm past my knee. Instead of lifting with my lower back, I'm just pushing my hip through and get the lockout. So that's cool. This feels really easy, which is still kind of unbelievable. Here even the paused safety squat bar is rough, but you know, I'm really in my RPE ranges, and overall throughout each week it got really better and better and better, and I could feel how, especially for squat and deadlift, how my confidence was growing, which makes me excited about what's to come and how to progress throughout everything. As you can see, there's many videos. I really cut down already plenty of the, let's say, assistance and accessory work, so me doing rows or stuff like this. So that's why I think for the next couple of weeks I will do weekly updates, so kind of in a vlog way, maybe even I have to see how I'm going to do it, I don't know yet. Maybe even recording myself doing my sessions, giving kind of instant thoughts, because there were a couple of sessions that I really wasn't feeling it. I was just mailing it in. I was going there, putting the weight on the bar and lifting it, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, sorry here, the sound is a bit off. It happened during the recording. I don't know why. So yeah, about the weekly vlogs, let me know if you like this idea and what kind of stuff you might want to hear or see of me doing it, because I hope the idea is to give you a more recent feedback on how things are going, but also making these videos a bit shorter, and maybe I can make them a bit more personal. That would be the goal. I kept this one in, so this is basically yesterday, last training day. Really didn't feel like training at all, but stiff-legged deadlift moved very well. Could have done a lot more, at least that's how it felt. Same goes for pull-ups. Trying to stretch to get a real, lat stretch and then contract the muscle. Kind of did this with the superset with the stiff-legged deadlifts. And then, as I said previously, floor press is the last thing I'm doing. So once I did the last set here, I went to my computer, I ordered a pizza, took a shower, and was happy that I was done with the training session. So yeah, this is pretty much it. This was a longer training recap. I still hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of this. If something was missing out of your perspective, let me know. If you want to see something specific now in the more weekly vlog-like stuff, or maybe it's twice a month vlog like stuff. Have to see what makes sense. Let me know in the comments. Also, please subscribe and share my videos, my channel with people who might like this. I'm really excited about the next 12 weeks of training. I hope you are too. So, until then, have a great time and see you next time. Bye.